coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson Wood. I'm the board game teacher. Thanks for coming to the classroom. Today I'm here to talk about Evolution, Education Edition by North Star Digital Studios. Now, first off, before I get into the report card for this, I just want to say, first off, a big thank you to North Star Digital Studios for giving me a copy of this for evaluation purposes, so I could see how it plays and to be able to recommend this game to you. And I'm going to recommend this game. The second thing I want to mention is that the game Evolution Education Edition was based on the board game Evolution. So there is a board game version of this game that is already out there. This is now a digitalized version of it, so you can play online, you can play against an AI on the computer, and you can get animations and all kinds of other things on there which you wouldn't normally get with the regular board game edition. So my evaluation for this is strictly on the Evolution Education Edition, the computer version, not for the board game version. If people want, I can look at the board game version and I can give you my thoughts on that one, which would be slightly different than the computer version. But for now, like as I'm saying, I'm just focusing on the computer one. So let's take it right to the report card. So looking at the number of players for Evolution Education Edition, I'm going to give the number of players an A-, which may seem a bit odd because it's still a 4-player game. Now, even as a 4-player game, though, what gives it the extra boost? Now, normally, like as I say, the 4-player game is a B. That's kind of standard for me. But the fact that it plays so well as a solo game now, also the fact that when you're playing solo, you can either play with people around the world if you want to. So not really a solo game, but still for your own purposes, whoever's in your home or you have available in your current setting, you don't need all those people together with you. So the fact that you can play online with other people kind of mitigates part of that problem where finding other people. But even then, you've got the AIs which you can play against, the artificial intelligence. You can play against the computer, and you can play against the computer at many different levels and different tactics and things. There's different sort of personalities that the computer can have, which can make the experiences different as you play them, plus the different levels of difficulty. Also, if you're playing at home, you have the option for pass and play, where if you're playing the game, I can take my turn, pass the computer to you, you can take your turn, pass the computer to the next player, and so on and so on. So there's all these different options and variabilities within the number of player situation. So while, yes, it's good to be a 4-player game, which is, as I say, what I consider to be more the standard, the fact that it has all these different ways to work it just makes it, I couldn't just leave it within the B category, so I bumped it up to the A-. So for learning, I'm going to give the game an A+. This game is amazing for the way that it gamifies the learning in such a way that you're going to be having so much fun playing that a lot of times you're not even really realizing all the learning that you're doing. I mean, having played the game a bunch of times now, I have all these new facts in my head and ideas about species and how they work and the evolutions and the different types of species and how they evolved and coexist with other species in the symbiotic relationships, etc. I mean, there's just so much that you learn from this game. It's really quite wonderful. There was actually, in the board game version, there was a professor at the University of Oxford, and he was using the Evolution board game with his undergraduate students. So that gives you an idea of the educational value of the game from that perspective. Now, I think that the computer version, and I have played the board game version as well, but looking at the computer version now, I think the computer version is even better for the way that it can animate certain things. It can put certain things in there, like I was saying, feeding you those tidbits and facts, information that come through, and it just can lead you through understandings in a way that the board game just can't. So the learning, as good as it was with the board game, I think with the computer game, it just gets that much better. For fun, I'm going to give the game an A+. I mean, when playing a board game, the board game has to be fun in its own right. I mean, that you enjoy playing it. And a lot of board games are like that. I'll enjoy playing some board games, but after I played a board game, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm done with it now. I don't necessarily want to play that board game again too soon. I mean, it just sometimes some board games can, if you play them too often, they can feel a bit repetitive. This game when you're playing Evolution, there's just so many options and things you have while you're playing. You're constantly reacting to the cards and things you have available, as well as you're looking at what your opponents are doing. So you're looking constantly at the path and what food's available, and all these different factors you're taking into consideration. Are you going to take the route of a herbivore, carnivore, different? How many species are you going to put out there? What attributes are they going to be having? It's just so many interesting decisions that you're making every time that no two games really feel exactly the same. Now, couple that with the fact that's just your base game. Now, in the computer version, you have the base game, but then you also have things called weekly challenges. Then you also have the campaign that you can play. Then you have the base game, which you can play at different difficulty levels, plus you can play with human opponents across the world. I mean, there's just so much to this game that if you get tired of playing it one way, you can also try it in a different way. And there's just so much to offer in this game that the replayability factor is huge because it is so much fun. For time, I'm going to give the game an A+, no questions. I mean, the base game, the basic board game itself, has a lot of little tokens and cards and things, which can make it sometimes a little bit slow to set up, to play, and then to clean up, because there's a lot of little pieces within it. But when you're playing on a computer, and the computer is managing all those components for you, the game, I can play a game of this now in about 10 minutes. I can just, whip through a game very, very quickly. And so once you become familiar with the game, you'll be able to do that as well. It's not like I'm sort of exceptionally fast. I just think that once you get in the familiarity of it, and you don't need to manipulate all the pieces and move them around, the tidy up, the clean up, and all that, it goes so fast. And so it's going to be something that if you're including in a classroom situation, or if you want to have in your home, then it's something that can be played very quickly and doesn't consume a lot of time, particularly, as I say, in the setup and the cleanup. So A+, no question. And finally, for cost, the cost of the game is $18.99 Canadian plus tax, so roughly around $20. And so for a game like this, with the amount of, I say, the replayability that you're getting, so fun plus the learning that you're getting out of it, I think it's well worth the cost. So I give it an A for the cost. I think, and I know with the board game there were expansions, like where in the game right now, in the computer version, the Education Edition, they do not have the flight as one of the traits that your animals can get. And I know that's one that came in the next edition of the board game. So that can be also something to look forward to in the future. But for now, what you're getting for it, and I don't know what it would cost if you're getting a school edition, so buying it for a class, but I'm thinking, I'm not sure how that might work for the whole class doing it at one time. It's, to me, would be something more like you would set up as a center. So if you had even one copy, you could do the pass and play thing like I mentioned. So you don't need to buy 4 separate copies for 4 students to play it simultaneously. So you could just set up the one edition and then pass and play in that way. So certainly something you could be doing in a class as one center while other students are doing different things. And this, you could be taking it into language afterwards as you're talking about some of the different vocabulary that you're learning from there. Obviously the science that you're learning from. Just all kinds of different things you can do with this. I just think that for that reason, that the cost is a great cost for what you're getting for it. All right, so let me take you to the computer. Let me show you a little bit about how it's played. I'll show you some of the screenshots and animations of things that are going on in there, and then I'll take you to my final thoughts.
Okay, so here we have Evolution Education Edition. Let me just take a moment here. So you have settings here where you can turn down the music and the sound effects. I'm just going to turn those right down for the purposes of the video and get right back to the thing. So starting off here, so when you set up as a your profile name, and second year grad student is in regards to how many games I've won over the course of the time I've been playing. So showing here, you start off here as a biology student, and you work your way down as you win more and more games. You have to win 4 games to advance to the next level. So yeah, I've played quite a few games. And so now I'm a second year grad student. And as you get to the higher levels, you're going to be required to beat harder opponents until finally you get to all the way to Nobel Laureate. And this is showing you badges, how many times you've achieved the gold star in a challenge and how many times you've achieved Nobel Laureate. So I have not reached the Nobel Laureate yet, if I ever will. I mean, there's a lot of games to be played. And I think that's in a month, too. You have to do that in a month. So that's a lot of games. And then goals are on a challenge. I've tried that challenge. I've beat the game once on the weekly challenge, but not to the conditions that they set. It's really difficult. So showing the badges here. So these are different challenges of the week. These are previous ones that were up. What I'm on right now is Stockpile, and it shows that I've achieved the silver star in it, but I haven't got the gold yet. So in Stockpile, I had to beat the game and still had 5 food left over in the watering hole at the end of the game. So like I said, I beat it on the hard level, but there wasn't 5 food left at the end of the game, so I didn't win the game. Basically what you're going to be doing, you're going to be going to a local game or an online game. Online game, you're playing against other people online, but what I won't show you right now is just the local game. So in the local game, you can play against the AI, the artificial intelligence, in which case then you choose your, how many opponents you want, 1, 2, or 3 opponents, and at what difficulty levels. You can play in the campaign. The pass and play, so if you're playing with more than one opponent in your home, you take your turn, you pass it to the next person. Or the weekly challenge is like I told you, you click that, and so now this one, I've got a new challenge here. Prolific, you win a game with 12 population. So at the end of the game, you have to have 12 population left over, which is not easy. It's not easy to do, so that's a tricky one. So you have 3 different levels, so you start off, you'd be on the easy. Once you do that, then you can challenge at the medium. So right now, I guess I can challenge at the medium right now. Okay, so you can challenge at whatever level you want, but maybe just get some practice there, move up. But the hard A, once you've done that, then you go into a leaderboard, and the leaderboard shows you who in the world has beat it, so that the top score anybody's ever beat this at is with 30 points, which is not a lot of points, actually. So I'm actually quite surprised that's number 1, but it is early in the week, so maybe that will change in the near future. So going back then, so we have the campaign. The campaign is kind of cool. So you're going through the campaign, it leads you through this map, and it takes you on different challenges as you go through. So you see the path. So you start off down here, and each one is a different challenge, and it really sort of helps you to understand different parts of the game, into some of the different combinations that different things can work different combinations that might work effectively while you're playing the game. And so here I am now in that Ludovastus. And so the area of the island is overrun with species. So I can play that game, and it's going to be, red showing it's going to be that's at least one hard opponent. And once I beat that, then I start to unlock different things in the game. Coming back again. So this is like the opening animation. Starts here, so back to my local game. So the campaign, the weekly challenge, and then like I said, the AI game. So the AI game, you're choosing the different types. So these characters, you start off with Regularis, and then you go on to, as you play through the campaign, you unlock these. So you unlock Carnivora, Defensa, Ludo, Propagatus, and Minimus. Alright, so those different challenges associated there, and then I can play at the medium or at the hard. And I have not unlocked expert yet. And so that's going to be it. So just during the game. So let's just play. Okay, let's just start a game with this. So I've got 3 medium opponents there. So in the game, it's going to set up here. So it's all centered around a watering hole. All animals come into the watering hole, which was the gathering place for animals, because that's where you find the plant food. And then, of course, if you're carnivore, then you find your food source there, which is the other animals. So at the beginning, what we're doing is we're choosing one of these cards to put into the watering hole to show how much food will be there. So I can choose as low as 2, as high as 6. But what I'm also doing in this case is I'm getting rid of one of my cards, which I won't be able to use again. So let's just say I don't want to be a carnivore just yet. So I'll throw in that one. And then I can take one of these, I put it down there, and that will add a new species. So I can add species to the left or the right, and the position is important because, for example, you read the cooperation card, so you hover over a card, so it shares food to the right. So if I put it here, I'm not sharing with anything else, but if I put it here, it's going to help. So I'll do that there. And then the other players are putting down their stuff. And now we feed, and it shows there's only 1 food in the whole thing. So this guy takes it, which means we all starve. So something like a long neck here, which can get food that's not at the watering hole, is advantageous. Okay, so then if you run out, then you just start over again with a new species. So this time I will put in that. And I'm going to start off with that long neck. And you know what? Watch this. When I do long neck and cooperate, okay, when I do long neck and cooperate, then it will automatically feed before the round even starts. It'll help to feed my thing on the right there. So now there's more food. We're all going to be fed this round. Now, when there's you can do an auto feed, which then it manages things on its own. So it helps to speed the game along. And it's cool when you put the monkey in, and like the intelligence, a little monkey comes and sits on the rock here to show that you have. If you get a species with ambush, then this crocodile starts swimming around. There's all kinds of little animations which help to make it more thematic about what's going on here. So maybe each of those is fertile, this one's now burrowing. Okay. Now this one turns into a carnivore. So then his thing becomes red and he gets the claws on him. Now he's quite big, so you need body size. So I'll explain this all when I do my full playthrough, but this is the game. So a lot of animation, so the more food there is, the more green it gets. As we start to eat the food, then it starts to disappear around the from around the thing. And now I'm being attacked, so when my species dies. But I'm not completely dead. If I go down to 0, then my species goes extinct. And I get parts to replace that. And that is sort of a quick run through of what you can expect with Evolution Education Edition. Hope you enjoyed the video. Now to my final thoughts.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for Evolution Education Edition by North Star Digital Games. Once again, North Star, thank you for sending me this evaluation copy. I have really enjoyed it, and I think you have a fantastic product here. If you have any other questions for me about this particular game, or if you have any suggestions for other games that are out there which are educationally based and you think that you might like to see on the channel, please leave me a message in the comment section below, and I will definitely check those out. If you have any other topics of discussion you might like to discuss, pedagogical, gamification, game-based learning, anything like that, again, leave me a message in the comment section below and I will get back to you. But until next time, I'm Craig Thompson Wood, the Board Game Teacher, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school with me?